Okay. Building by a Mishnah on Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. Am I correct? 33a. I think Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. And the schus of our learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately. Okay. The whole shir today is all about a shartam and sharmuad. A shartam is an ox that gores another ox. It pays only half the damages. Yeah, if the ox gets damaged $200, so it would pay $100. The damage only pays $100. The sharmuad, that means if it gored 3 times already, then it pays full price. Okay, now there's another detail here that the shartam pays from the animal of the damaging from the damaging animal. In other words, you sell the animal that caused the damage, you take half that money and you give it to them. You will see that it's not actually selling. It could be that they actually split it, they become partners. We'll see it's machlekes. Okay.
The ox that causes damage, the value won't decrease because he's like a liability.
I think that the ox is there to plow, and you put it in the plow, and that's it. The value of the ox is the work that you get done from it, or the meat that you have. It's not really like the liability part of it. Depends what he needs it for. But if he needs it for plowing, then if it plows good, so then it's okay.
Is this idea or this principle applied in any other circumstance, or is it limited to this?
I think it's limited to this. I don't know anywhere else this concept of migufay plays in. Okay. Shnei shvarim tamim. 2 tame oxen, 2 oxen that never damaged before. Shechablu zeh. They cause damage one to another. You hear this? They gored each other.
Gored first.
So who gored first? It's a good question. It's funny. Yeah, in the picture of the Koran, that's so Mishalem and B'maiser Chatzi Nezik. The way it works is like this. They each owe each other money. Let's say they each damage each other 100 zuz. So then it's going to be equal. Let's say one of them damaged 100, and the other one damaged the other one damaged 50. So the one that damaged more has to pay half the price, half the 50. There's an extra 50 of his damage. He has to pay half of that. Shnei muadim. Let's say they're both a muad. Mishalem meisin nezik shalim. Then not only the 25, half of the 50, but they have to pay the full 50, right? One damaged 100, one damaged 50. The difference between them is 50. Has to pay 50. Let's say one of them is a tam and one is a muad, so it depends who damaged more. Muad betam. If the muad, the one that was forewarned, damaged the tame one, he has to pay full price. If it's the tame one that damaged the one that was forewarned, what a surprise! But whatever the case is, he has to pay only half the damages.
Someone gets into like a car accident, they go to Basin instead of.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
It probably happens in the Muslim community, and or in Lakewood, Muncie, that type of thing. Yeah.
You're not hyped to go to Basin.
I had a story where this guy tells me that he gives me a ride one night. He says he's apologizing that his car is like broken down. He says, it's so good. I don't have to worry. Like, for example, if my bumper like comes off, I don't have to care about it. The next day, I'm driving down the block and a car just comes swerving out like right into me. Anyway, I pulled to the side, I step out of the car. It's this guy. Between me and his car is his bumper. I said, you told me you don't mind if your bumper comes up.
Wow.
Anyway, he was a nervous wreck, and he called the police. He said it was, of course, his fault. I'm driving. He pulls out of the thing, and they said, "Do you want to do a report?" I said, "Nah, whatever. It's poor guy. Just leave him." It was a from guy. So the police said, "I never saw anything like this, where like you guys don't want to do the report. I could get insurance or whatever." I said, "No, whatever." Okay. So same as with two people that damage one another. Of course, with people, you don't say that one is tame. There's no such thing as a tame person. Everyone is forewarned. That's the thing. Adam b'muad, muad ba'adam. Yeah, when they do this, sometimes they do these play fighting. They do these. The guys put on gear and they do this like type. It's not play fighting, but do this thing. And each one says, "I'm only going to fight this amount. I'm not going to give all my strength." Then a minute later, they're like, the people have to come in and break them up. They lose it. They don't. It's a bad hobby. So Adam. Okay, so Meisin Esek Shalim, they're always forewarned. Adam b'muad muad b'adam. This is interesting. Now you have an animal that's goring a man. Or a man, he doesn't gore the animal, but he causes damage to the animal. Then they each have to pay each other nesek shalom because the man is always nesek shalom, complete payment, and the muad has to be complete payment. Adam b'tam b'adam. Let's say it's a man that's fighting with a tame animal. Adam b'tam shalom nesek shalom. The person has to pay full price, right? Tam b'adam, but the tame with the person, he only has to pay half price. Rabbi Akiva argues on this. He says, Rabbi Akiva holds that an animal that causes harm to a man has to pay full price. It's only an animal to an animal that's half price. That the concept of a tam is only animal to animal according to Rabbi Akiva. This pasuk is referring to an animal that gores a person. It says you have to do the same law like we said before, that you have to pay for the damages. Just like if an ox scores another ox, he has to pay, the owner has to pay. So to the ox that scores a person, the owner has to pay. Just like if it's a tame ox, he has to pay half price. And if it's a forewarned ox, you have to pay full price. So too, a shor that gores a person, exactly the same halacha. If it's tame, it's half price. If it's forewarned, it's full price. Rabbi Akiva says you have to take a look at that pasuk more carefully. It says like this law. Which specific law you're referring to? Because in the order of the verses, it says the law of the tame ox, gores another ox. It says the law of the forewarned ox, and then it says an ox that gores a man. It doesn't say tam or mud. So now, what it says is, Rabbi Akiva says, if you take a look at the very last one that I mentioned, was talking about the muad. So it says the way the halachas of an ox that gores a man are more similar to the muad that gores another ox, which means that it's always full price. Ketachten like alien tachten means the latter versus the former. Latter would mean the one that's lower down on the page, lower on the page. Tachten means on the page, tachten. Like alien, not the one that was said previously on. If that's the case, then maybe we should apply that the ox that gores the man, we should also pay min aliyah. He doesn't have to pay from the ox itself. He has to pay from the best of his property. It says that he pays from the ox itself, just like a tame ox. So when it comes to the amount, it's full price. When it comes to the way he pays, then it's like a tam. According to the Rabbanan, it says kamishpat hazeh Why does it say Kamishba Dazeh if it's really not like the last one? It's like the Tam as well. It's coming to say that you don't have to pay 4 extra types of payments, which is Tar, Nesek, Tar, Ripu, Shevis, and Baishas, the pain, the loss of work, doctor bills, and the embarrassment when an ox scores a man. Rabbi Kiva, the where does Rabbi Kiva know it's from? He already used the pasuk of Zeh to tell me that you have to pay full price. How does he know that you don't have to pay the other 4 payments? He learned it from another pasuk. It says if a man causes a blemish, causes a bruise in his friend, only if a man hits another man do you have to pay those 4 extra payments, but not if an ox causes that damage. What about the Rabbanon? Why can't they learn from there? What are they doing with? Why do they have to learn from Vizeh? If it was from that pasuk, I would have thought that that's just excluding pain, because pain is no actual loss. Pain is just a way of getting extra income, but there's no actual loss of money. But when it comes to doctor bills, and when it comes to loss of work, where there is a real loss, I would think that even by the ox, you would have to give it. Kamash Malan. So according to the Rabbanan, they have 2 limudim here. One is Vizeh, teaches me that you don't have to pay the tsar, and then Ishkit Mumbamisa is that you don't have to pay the nezek and the doctor bills and the loss of work. Probably could have said just the doctor bills and the loss of work, and I wouldn't have needed to say that you don't have to pay the pain. But the reason why is because if it would have only said one, I would have thought that that's coming to be used for the pain. I need to have 2 exclusions: one that you don't have to pay pain, and one that you don't even need to pay for the loss of work when an animal gores a man. Okay, next Mishnah. Shor Shavim Manish and Shor Shavim Masayim. You have an ox that's worth 100 zuz. Zuz is a dinar. It's like comparable to $1. But for our purposes. No, there is such a thing as another type of sella that's 100. But over here, our sella is going to be only 4. Our sella is going to be 4. Oh, yeah, a sella is 20. 25 sella would be 100, because each sella is 4 dinar. So, all right, each sella is 4 dinar. So 25 sella would be 100. Yeah.
But a dinner and a zuz is the same.
Dinar and zuz is synonymous.
Is that the same one that says that the woman
Could be. You're going back to Ksubis, where how much she makes, how much she's supposed to earn.
What's in Rambam now?
Sella.
Anybody on the seller coin or the seller bill? It just waits.
I think there is a Gemara that says that there was a man and a woman on the picture of a man and a woman, an old man or an old woman on the Sella. I forget where that Gemara was. Okay, I think it's in Bava Metzia somewhere.
Didn't have paper.
So it says like this. The ox that gores is worth 100. The ox that got gored is worth 200. And the nevela is worth nothing. So the damage over here was, how much? Was 200. How much is going to be half price? He takes the ox, which is 100. He takes the living ox, which is 100, which is exactly chatzi nezek. Okay, if it was a tame ox, he pays chatzi nezek migufay from the animal itself. He just takes the ox. Masnisin mani, yeah. Who's the author of our Mishnah? Rabbi Akiva. It's Rabbi Akiva. The Tanya was started in the Brisa. Yusam Ashar Bebestin. It says that you evaluate the ox in court, but that is the opinion of Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. That's the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel. He says that the debt that the perpetrator has to the victim is not the actual ox itself. He says, I know, I take it from the ox and I look at the value of the ox, but it's not that the victim now owns the ox. He says you have to evaluate it in court. Rabbi Kiva says you confiscate the ox. Confiscate the victim takes the ox. He's just going to take the ox. It's not a debt; it's the actual ox.
That's because it happens to be the right price.
If it's not the right price, then they'll become partners in the ox. But he actually gets like an ownership in the ox.
Here it explains that the damagee gets like a lien on the.
Yeah, that we'll see in a moment. That's going to come up. We'll see. The Michael Miflagi, what's the machlaikas? Rabbi Shmuel savar bal chayvu v'susiu demasikli. Rabbi Shmuel says he's just a regular person that has a debt. He has a debt, then he owes him money. By the way, when it comes to court cases, someone loses a case, or he ends up after a court case in Besdin, so he owes money. So that money is like a debt. And the same halachas that the person has when it comes to collecting money from someone that borrowed money, same halachas you have by collecting the money from the person that owes the money in court. You're not allowed to oppress him. You can't, walk by his place every day to show him that, you can't intimidate him. You're not allowed. So it becomes like very complicated. So here he becomes a Baal Chayv, he owes money, becomes a regular debtor. He owes the money to the creditor. And he just owes the money. It's nothing to do with this ox. It has to do with the ox, but he owes money based on the value of the ox, but it's actually money that he owes, not the ox. Rabbi Kiva Rabbi Kiva says they become partners. And they're arguing about the following pasuk. Now, the following pasuk says that it's talking about a case where an ox that's worth 200 gores an ox that's worth 200, and it becomes worth nothing. Not like our Mishnah. Our Mishnah was an ox that's worth 100 gores an ox that's worth 200. The pasuk is referring to an ox that's worth 200 that gores an ox worth 200. They divide the living ox, which is 200, and they divide the money. They sell it and they sell it and they divide the money. How much was the living ox? 100. How much was the damage? 200. How much is Chatzi Nezek? 100. So therefore, they divide the living ox. Each one gets 100. That's Chatzi Nezek. In other words, the victim loses half and he gains half. The victim ends up with the loss of 100 and the perpetrator ends up with the loss of 100. Yeah, because the damage was 200. We're saying the carcass is worth nothing. Yeah, there's another case where the carcass has value. Here the carcass is worth nothing. Rabbi Shmuel holds the Beidina Kamasar Rachmana. When it says that you sell the ox and you divide the money, it's not talking about that the people themselves sell it. It says in the court, it's sold and the money goes to him. Rabbi Kiva says no. Rabbi Kiva says the perpetrator and the victim, they sell the ox because they now automatically become partners in the living ox. My binayu, what's the difference between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael? If the victim decides to make the ox hektish, he consecrates it to Hashem. So is he an owner in it? Not according to Rabbi Yishmael, but according to Rabbi Akiva, he is. According to Rabbi Akiva, he can actually consecrate it and something actually takes effect on the ox. According to Rabbi Shmuel, he doesn't own anything in the ox. He has some money that's owed to him, but not the ox. Rav asked Rav Nachman a question. It's common. Rav asks questions from Rav Nachman. Machru mazik Rabbi Shmuel ma. Let's say the mazik, the perpetrator, the damager, he sells his ox. According to Rabbi Shmuel, he owns the ox, right? So he sold it. Given them Rabbi Shmuel bal chayva v'zuz masklei macher. Since Rabbi Shmuel says that, look, he owes the guy money. What's the difference if he sells it? It's a good sale. He sold it. Or maybe. Given the Meshabed Leila Nizik, since there is a lien on it, that if the guy doesn't give him money, then he can actually take the ox itself. First, he owes him money. But there is some sort of lien, even according to Rabbi Shmuel, on the ox. So maybe he's not allowed to sell it. Lav kol kamine, there's no such thing that he should be able to sell it, and then the victim can't get it. He says it's not considered sold. If he sells it, it's not sold. That's Reb Nachman's response. Because there's a lien on from the victim that the victim can get the damagee can be able to take payment from the ox. So Rava responds back, but there's a brisa that says that it is sold. The question is, why did he ask the question if he has this brisa? So he answers, Reb Nachman responds, what it means is it's sold. Yes, it's sold, but the victim can go to the purchaser and say, you bought an ox that had a lien on it to the damage that occurred to my animal. And therefore, I'm collecting that ox because he never paid me. The Gemara says, so why do you say that it was considered sold? If the guy can go and take it back. My answer is l'ridia. When it comes to the labor that the ox performed, the victim can't say that since that ox is mine, you owe me the rental fee or that work fee that you get, all the benefits that you got from the ox before I took it away. He can't collect it. It's sold while it's sold, but he can still go take it away, and there's no payment that goes from the purchaser to the victim. For the ridia means the plowing. I'm sorry.
We learned in a previous sugya that there may be a lien on karka, but not on the metaltalin.
Oh, it's coming up right now. That's coming up right now. Very good. Very good. Reb Naftali and the Gemara have the following question.
And Yitzi.
And
Don't forget.
Shema Mina. This is a rhetorical statement. Shema Mina, do we see from this? Loive, someone borrows. What's the aleph? Umachar metaltalin, and then he sells his personalty. That there's a lien on the personalty that you can go and collect from the purchaser of those items to be able to collect. There was only a lien on property, not on personalty. The Gemara says Shani Hasam, over there it's different. The command also a paitiki dami, because there's a concept called a paitiki, where a person can make something, can put a lien on personalty if he does it specifically, can actually designate money, put it aside in a Swiss account, say that if this is going to come up, whatever, there's money that's designated for you in that account. You know what I'm saying? That's they can designate some mutual funds or something designated for this certain cause. Okay.
By the way, we use the same word today in modern commercial transactions. Hypothecate. We use the same word.
Unbelievable. What's the first letter?
H.
An H? An H.
Hypothecate.
Hypothecate.
So this
How do you spell that? H?
H-Y, I think Hypothecate.
Hypothecate.
That's also the Portuguese word for mortgage.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Uh-huh.
It's also the Danish word for hello.
A Danish word for what?
Hello.
For what?
Hello.
Hello. Okay. The funny thing is that the Gemara, or at least the commentaries say that it's really a hyphenated. It's a what's it called? The word that's put together. Compound. It's a compound word. It's supposed to be a poi tehei koi. That it's like three words that is meant that you can collect from this. A poi, like from this to hey, it should be koi standing, which means that that this will be will preserve the make sure that you get paid back. We'll be standing on this. Oh yeah. Oh, so that's, he said, a mortgage. And,
So this bull has the same, the ox has the same laws as the Queen state.
right now, yeah, we're gonna see why. 1 second. The Gemara says, but Rava says, that if someone makes his slave an apaitike, they hypothecate. So then not the best, and the creditor can come and collect from it. But if he makes his ox a apaitike and he sells it, you can't collect from it. So why are you telling me over here that the ox is considered an apaitike? Mar says, Eben, my time, what's the reason why a slave could be an apaitike? Yes, they color, because everyone knows that when a slave is sold, everyone knows about it. So the Gemara says, Hainami, but this ox also, even the Nagach Kala slave, because it gored, so now it has now it's already part of the news. So therefore, when it's sold, the guy should know that he's selling an ox or the purchaser knows that when he's buying an ox that has a problem with it. And he knows that there's a lien on it because it already gored.
Why would you ever buy it?
So therefore, notice our concern is that usually you don't say that there's a lien on personality,
Right?
because people don't follow the personality. They don't know, like, if the guy has liens on him or whatever. They buy things like, but its property has like the lien on the property. When a property is sold, people check out, does the person have any debts that are outstanding? But they don't do that for personality. But over here, because this ox gored, then this becomes like property, because there's a rumor about it that it already gored. Then people have to be careful. And then, so this is one exception to the rule where an ox could be in a fight.
It's a lake in Florida, Lake Apopka.
That's probably an Indian word.
It's from there, yeah.
You'd say, do you know anything about Lake Apopka?
Also Danish. It's like probably like an hour away from Orlando.
Yeah.
I went there and I bought a truck.
Oh, yeah.
It had a lien on it. No, it's crazy. I walked into the dealership and I asked to test drive the car, and they gave me the key. Go test drive the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like no salesman with me. They didn't even ask me for my license or just give me the key. Go try it out. You know what happened? I bought it.
But now he's still here. He drove it right here. Tani Rav Tachlifa Bar Mar Rava. Made the Rabbavo. Rav Tachlifa from Eretz Yisrael. Bar could mean son of, but it could also mean person of, like bar mitzvah. Doesn't have to be son of, right? Yeah. Made the Rabbavo. This Rav Tachlifa from Eretz Yisrael said, and he taught a bryce in front of Rabbavo. The bryce says, Machru, if it got sold, the ox, we'll see in a minute who sold it. Probably the damager, the perpetrator sold it. Ein macher, it's not considered sold. Now, what we think right now is it's not sold even for the he's going to be able to collect the money if when he sells it to him, sells it to a purchaser, random guy. So he's going to be, when the damagee comes in and says that's mine, not only is he able to take it away, but is even able to take away whatever usage this guy got out of it. He's able to say that was mine when you were using it, so give me the rental fee or whatever it would cost to use this. Hikdishay, if he consecrates it, then it's mukdash, then it is consecrated. So there seems to be a difference over here, like an inconsistency. When he sells it, it's not sold at all. When he consecrates it, it's consecrated. Machruman, who sold it? What's going on over here? Ilema mazik, if you say that it was the perpetrator that sold it. So machru ein macher. And when it says it's sold, it's not considered sold, right? That's what we said. It's not considered sold. Mani, who would hold that opinion? Rabbi Akiva, the Amar Huchlat Ashar. That must be Rabbi Akiva's view, because Rabbi Akiva holds that the victim automatically takes possession of the ox, and that's why the perpetrator can't sell it. But if he consecrates it, who's consecrating it? That's the seller. Asan Rabbi Yishmael, that must be Rabbi Yishmael's view. He says that you evaluate it in court, and it just becomes a debt on the perpetrator, but the ox belongs to him. So we have a problem over here, because it starts with Rabbi Akiva. One case is Rabbi Akiva, the other case is Rabbi Yishmael. Ela Nizik must be, we're talking about that the victim sells it. Machro ain't a macher. If he sells it, it's not sold. Why is it not sold? According to Rabbi Akiva, it should be sold because he owns it. It says Mani, who's that opinion? It must be Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael holds that it's not the victim's. There's just the debt that's incurred, that he has to pay the victim, but the victim doesn't own it. Ikdisha, if he consecrates it, mukdash, then it is consecrated. Who could that be? Asan Rabbi Akiva, that would go with Rabbi Akiva that says that the victim does own it. So you still have the same contradiction. I don't know what the Gemara was thinking. Like why, if it switches, it's going to be any better. But li'ayla mazik v'divrei hakol. Really, it was the perpetrator that sold it, and it's going to follow everyone's view. How does that work? How could it follow everyone's view? There's a big machlekes here. Machar, when he sells it, it's not sold. Afilu Rabbi Shmuel, even according to Rabbi Shmuel, why that because he can go take it back. That's what we said before. He can take it back. What's going to be about the payment for the price? That would end up being a machlekes between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva, but the Brisa wasn't talking about that. The payment for the plowing, that would come out to be. Notice the Brisa was talking very general, that the sale is not a full sale because the victim can go and confiscate it from the purchaser. Ikdishim muktish, but if it was consecrated, it's considered consecrated. I feel Rabbi Akiva, that would fit even to Rabbi Akiva, even though he doesn't really own it. The perpetrator doesn't really own it. The victim owns it, but nevertheless, it's considered consecrated. Mishum de Rabavo, because of a statement that Rabavo made. Rabavo said, we have a concern that if we say that it's not really consecrated, people may say that, oh yeah, consecrated things are not so significant. You could just take it and it's not a problem. You just use it. So you have to do some sort of pidyon on it so that people don't say that it looks like you're using consecrated property without any redemption. You have to do some sort of redemption. Okay, Tana Rabbanan, start in the Brisa. So we're going to explain this. Short time shehizik. With 33b. A tame ox that causes damage. Ad shlayamad badin. But before it ends up in court, Machru, this guy's a major businessman. He immediately goes and sells it, even before it goes to court. Machar, it's considered sold. Ikdishai, if he consecrates it, now he's religious too. Mukdash, it becomes consecrated. Shachtei v'nasnim b'matana, he quickly slaughters it and gives it as a gift to someone. Masha'asa asi, what's done is done. Mishamad badin, but once it went to court, the Gemara is going to explain every detail here. So, Mishamad badin, once it goes to court, machar ain't a machar. He sells it, it's not considered good sale. It's a gazun. Tikdisha, if he consecrates it, ain't a mukdish, it's not considered consecrated. It's a gazun. Shachtei, if he slaughters it, he did nothing. Kadmu bali chayvus v'igbiu. Let's say, we have to see exactly when they're doing this, but let's say creditors show up and take it. We're talking about that there's a damaging ox, and there's also creditors that they have. How was this paitake if it wasn't a damaging ox? I don't know, this is an interesting case. Creditors come and they take property. I think the rule is that they're not supposed to take personalty, but if they do, it's considered that it's considered theirs, right? They're not supposed to take it. Maybe that's the explanation. So bein chabat shleihizik, whether the debt was there before the damage, bein hizikat shleichav, whether the damage to gazant was there before the debt, they didn't do anything. They weren't allowed to take it. Because the damage takes from the ox itself. The damagee collects from the ox itself. The debt could take from other things, but the damagee has to take the living ox as part of his payment. Muad shehizik. Now we go to another case. Let's see, it was a muad that caused damage. Ben shamad badin, ben shlamad badin. Whether it went into court, whether it didn't go into court, machar, it's always considered sold. Ikdishai, because it's just a regular debt. Has nothing to do with the animal, with the perpetrating animal. Ikdisha, if he consecrates it, mukdash, it's considered consecrated. Everything is a done deal. Whatever the creditors come and take it, doesn't matter what came first. It's done is done. Because the muad always pays from the best of the property, doesn't pay from the animal itself. So we have no concern about this animal specifically exchanging hands or something. Amar Mar. The Gemara is going to analyze the Brisa that we just quoted. Amar Mar means that the master taught, referring to the Brisa that we just said. Machru machar. If the perpetrator, the damager, sells his ox that caused damage, it's considered sold. What does it mean it's considered sold? Luridia, for plowing. That means that when the guy comes and collects it, the victim comes and collects it, he doesn't get any money for the plowing that this purchaser had done. He can't collect the rental fee. Ikdishai, if it was consecrated mukdash, it becomes consecrated. How does it become consecrated? Mishum de Rabavo, because Rabavo says that you have to do some sort of redemption, or else it doesn't look right. Shachta v'nasnim matana, if it was slaughtered and given as a gift, masha ase, whatever was done is done. Bishleim v'nasnim matana, masha ase l'redia. I get what it means, but if he gave it as a gift, what's done is done, even though the purchaser, even though the purchaser loses out, even though the victim shows up, the damagee shows up and confiscates the ox. What do you mean what's done is done? What we mean is that l'redia, that the plowing that the purchaser had done with this ox, the victim, the one that's confiscating it, does not get that money. Ela shachtu, but when he says slaughtered, what do you mean what's done is done? He goes and he takes the flesh. There's nothing there. There is no benefit that the person gets when it's shechted, because all the flesh just disappears. When you say that it's a done deal, that means that it's a done deal regarding a certain point. But over here, when he just takes all the flesh, what do you mean? The Tanya, yeah, but it was shechted. Now the victim's gonna show up and eat the meat. It's gonna be July 4th barbecue. The Tanya, that's the term for barbecue here in America, by the way. Okay.
Also barbecue.
Oh yeah.
All right.
The Tanya was studying in Brisa. Now someone said that
Let me know if the books-
July 4th is when Americans act like the South Americans. That's it.
Yeah.
They just make barbecues. The Tanya was studying in Brisa. I'm sorry.
It seems that we learned that if there's a damaging incident, until there's a ruling of Beis Din, well, I guess that's my question. Until there's a ruling of Beis Din, is the owner of the cow free to do whatever he wants with it? Does the lien, in other words, does the lien attach before the ruling of Beis Din?
Yeah, what so far what it seems from what we learned is that there is a lien that's there. The question is what's the ownership of it in the interim? If it was after it was in Beis Din, then the person after it was in Beis Din, the person sold it. So then the person not only collects confiscates the animal, but he also collects any of the plowing, any of the payment for the plowing that was done. And if it was done before, then the lien is still there. He can go and collect it. He can go and confiscate the animal, but he doesn't get the work value that was done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like. So here it says the Tanya was done in Brisa Chai, ain't li Chai. You only know that he takes it when it's alive. We're talking about an animal that causes damage. So the victim takes that animal. Shachta minayin, how do we know that he takes it even if it's shechted? That you sell the ox. Well, no matter what it is, he takes ox even if it's shechted. So why are you telling me that it's considered what's done is done? It's not what's done is not done. The victim goes and confiscates it. What we're talking about is if it gets worth less after the slaughtering. So that's a live animal that had a certain value. Now that it's slaughtered, what's done is done means that the perpetrator does not need to make up the difference of value to the victim. That means it's what's done is done. If it was slaughtered before it was in court, then he doesn't need to make up that value. Yes, he comes in and confiscates it, but the difference in price between the living ox and the not, he doesn't make that up. Amarav Huna Breder Rabbi Yeshua Zaisi Meres. This means to say, Hamazik Shibud Shel Chaver Pater. That if someone has a shibud, he has something hypothecate. He has something that that's supposed to be given that has a lien on it. and let's say it's the borrower himself that damages the item that has a lien on it to the creditor. He damages the thing itself. So it says he's exempt from payment. Gemara says, Pshita. That's obvious that's what we would learn. You see, what we just got over here is that the damager damages his own animal. He slaughters it. And so now it's worth less. And he doesn't owe any money to the victim. We see that he can damage the lien, and there's no payment. Gemara says, I could have thought that it was different. By when he slaughters the animal, I could say the victim, the perpetrator says, I didn't really cause any damage. You know what? Look, all the meat is exactly right here. It's like the tailor, like all the cloth that he brought me is all in this suit. It's all right here. All the meat that this animal had is all sitting right here. I just took its breath away. I didn't really damage it. It's all here. At least the matter, all the is here. However, Aval Ba'alma, but if it would be a regular damage, L'chayev, we would say that he actually has to pay because that's a real damage. Didn't just take the breath away. Yeah, but somehow maybe he could have rationalized that why over here it's not considered a damage, because maybe he was going to use it for eating or something. He's going to use it for the meat. So the Gemara says that's what you're telling me is not a chiddush either, because Hanavi Rabba Amra, Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua is a later Amira than Rabba. He's Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua is a student of Abai and Rava, and Rabba is a teacher of Abai and Rava. Rabba said that already. If someone has documents that in those documents contain debts that the person can collect, all those mortgage things, and someone goes and burns them, so he doesn't have to pay. Because the guy, he says, what did I do? I burnt paper. You want paper? Yeah, take some paper.
If you burn like $100 bills.
Well, that's the problem with $100 bills. Those days they didn't have that. They had silver. If you burn silver, then it's a problem if it disappeared. So what it comes out that those documents only considered like a grama. You caused the damage, but the actual damage itself you didn't really do. Those are just the means of collecting it, but you didn't actually damage anything. So so we're seeing that if someone damages something, we're considering this like a lien. This is like you damaged the ability to collect, and you don't have to pay. So I could have thought over there, I just burnt paper. But if you actually damage the property itself by digging holes all over the ground when the person's going to collect, then I would say that no. Kamash Malan, it comes to teach us this when this guy goes and slaughters the ox, it's as if he dug holes inside the property. And Kamar Mashal says it, nevertheless, we still say that it's considered what's done is done. Okay, so we have a chiddush here from Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua that damage to an actual property that has a lien on it, if it's the guy, the owner of the property, before it was collected, so then he doesn't have to pay for that. They used to do this when they were, what I heard when there was like all the foreclosures. So they would, when the bank would take away the house, the owner, so upset that he's losing the house, would pour cement down the drain, and it would like destroy the thing, just like to get them. So what would happen according to this Gemara? It would be punted because it was his at that point.
It wouldn't. I don't know of any case of the bank would price it. Sometimes
They like the Gemara.
people would break into the houses and they steal the copper pipes.
Really? Uh-huh.
I heard the real story. Yeah, it's real. Of somebody who had an apartment that he lost to the bank, and that they foreclosed on it, and he was so mad. Now this guy, I don't want to say his name. He was so mad, he trashed the apartment, totally destroyed, so that it was not sellable. So the bank ended up having to put it up for sale, like for cheap. So he had a friend buy the apartment. They bought it back for like they, fixed it up again. And essentially, we're out of the whole thing with the bank. No prosecution, no,
That's already got his apartment.
no, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's just, I happen, I knew
Okay.
this guy, so it's like,
Kadmu. Next case. If the creditors show up and they collect it, it doesn't matter whose debt came first, the damagee or the creditors. They didn't do anything. We're talking about now when this was after it was in court. Actually, is this after it was in court? I guess it doesn't matter. It happens to be the cases. In the Bryce, it was after it was in court, but it probably doesn't matter. Because he could, the damager, the damagee can only collect from the animal itself, so he always takes it back from even the creditor. I get it if the damage was before the debt. So therefore, so then his debt comes for his collection comes first because you owed me the money because of the damage that you did before you borrowed money from him. So therefore, I should be collecting from this ox first. But if the creditor's debt came first, the debt to the creditor came first. So Balchov Kadim. So why doesn't he come first? And even if the damage came first, but he took it, Balchov Kadim. But the fact that the creditor came in and confiscated it, Shma Mina, is this to tell me that there's a rule that if someone comes in and actually makes a collection, even though it's out of order, there's an order of who's collecting first. If someone comes in and confiscates out of order, we say that, okay, you got it already. So, but here we're saying not like that. You want to say that it doesn't work? The Gemara says, really, if someone makes a collection, it would actually work. He gives him a great logic, an unbelievable argument. He says, look, tells to the purchaser, this ox caused damage. If it damaged whether he owned it or whether it damaged when you owned it, I'm collecting from it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact is, this ox caused damage. It doesn't have to do with you collected it first and therefore now it's yours. No. I look at the ox itself and I say that it caused damage and I collect from that. I think I should leave it here instead of rushing. I guess tomorrow, well, probably, I have a problem. I'm not sure if we'll be able to learn Thursday night, Hanukkah. There's so many events going on. It will be, is there a Kailal Thursday night? No, I'm one page behind. Okay, we're not going to make it. We're not going to be able to. Let's see. Let's see tomorrow. Let's
Is
see.
Mashiach coming Thursday night?
Okay.
Is that why you're saying that?